Again, a city burnt. Again, a dead Mughal ruler has been invoked. Aurangzeb, a 17th century Mughal ruler who's been dead for over 300 years, is back in the news. One of the last powerful Mughals in India, vilified for taxing non Muslims and accused of religious persecution. But is Aurangzeb or any other Mughal ruler really relevant today? The answer is no. Welcome to Deep Dive with Outlook. Today, we are taking a look at why the ghosts of long dead Muslim emperors still haunt India's streets and politics. Spoiler, it's not about history, it's about power. A city ablaze, cars torched, stones hurled, over 30 wounded, one man, Irfan Ansari, dead. The spark? A 300-year-old name, Aurangzeb. Far right groups burned his effigy, raging against the tomb 500 kilometers away. Rumors of a desecrated Muslim cloth triggered retaliations. Firebombs, over 100 arrests, and curfews. Maharashtra's Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis called it pre planned. He also said that the release of recent Bollywood film Chhawa is likely the reason for the tensions. Who were the Mughals? Turkish Mongol conquerors who ruled India for 3 centuries. Muslims, yes, but clerics, not really. Babur, the founder, toppled Delhi in 1526, a warrior obsessed with gardens. Akbar married Hindu princesses, scraped the jizya tax, and wove a tapestry of tolerance. Jahangir painted a court of Hindu and Muslim brilliance. Even Aurangzeb, cast as villain, fought more for the empire expansion than faith. Historian and academician Ashok Pandey points out that Mughals were rulers of their subjects, just like any other king of the medieval era.
Neither an average Hindu nor an average Muslim was happy during the Mughal rule. They were citizens, citizen भी नहीं थे उस समय, तो प्रजा थे वो. सिटीजन तो डेमोक्रेसी के आने के बाद होती है, सब्जेक्ट थे वो, और उन सबको वही सब झेलना पड़ता था. किसी को ज्यादा, किसी को कम. आम लोग झोपड़ियों में रहते थे, बादशाह हो, राजा हो, महाराजा हो, महलों में रहते थे. उनकी जबान कानून थी, जिसको चाहे मार दे, जिसको चाहे हाथी के नीचे कुचलवा दे, ये सब हम लोग जानते हैं. तो मुस्लिम्स को मुगलों से जोड़ना ही अपने आप में बेवकूफी.
Historian Richard Eaton notes that Aurangzeb did raise temples, but as political reprisals, yet funded others, like the Jagamwadi Mutt, and shielded a Jain saint with a 1659 Farman. Historian Harbans Mukhia writes, Mughals craved power and order, not theocracy. So why are Indian Muslims made to carry the burden of dead Mughal emperors? This is what history expert Ashok Pandey said about the relentless obsession of Hindu right with the Mughals.
In fact, when you don't care about the present, when you don't have any remedy for the problems of present, you go to the history. और एक और चीज है, बहुत क्लियर है कि एंटी मुस्लिम हेट जिस तरह से इस देश में चल रही है, उसमें मुगल से एक ऐसा बन के आते हैं, मुगल पीरियड एक ऐसा पीरियड बन के आता है जिसपे आप हमला करते हैं, तो बेसिकली आप मुस्लिम हिस्ट्री पर, मुस्लिम जो कम्युनिटी आज की है उस पर हमला कर रहे हो. औरंगाबाद एक लेक्चर था मेरा, तो मैंने कहा चलो खुल्लाबाद दिखाते हैं, जहाँ औरंगजेब की कब्र है. एक मामूली सा कब्रिस्तान है जहां मुझे 10 लोग दिखाई नहीं दिए थे, और औरंगजेब की कब्र पर तो कोई था ही नहीं, मैं अकेला गया था जस्ट देखने के लिए, हिस्ट्री में इंटरेस्ट है. तो औरंगजेब की कब्र से हिंदुस्तान के मुसलमानों को क्या लेना देना, लेकिन नहीं, उसको इशू बनाया गया.
Enter Babur and the Babri Masjid. In 1528, his general Mir Baqi built a mosque in Ayodhya, allegedly atop the Ram Mandir. No hard proof, just a claim that festered for centuries. In 1992, it exploded. Hindu mobs, egged on by the BJP and RSS, demolished the mosque. Over 2,000 died in the riots. In 2019, India's Supreme Court handed the site to Hindus, and a grand Ram temple was erected at the place. Babur, a king who wrote poetry and died in 1530, became the far right's eternal invader. Yet, most Indian Muslims do not pray to Babur. Blame starts with the British. James Mill's 1817 History of British India smeared the Mughal rule as despotic and enslaving a Hindu golden age. It ignored the Persian Ramayans and Rajput pacts, birthing a myth of Muslim tyranny. Hindu nationalism ran with it. V.D. Savarkar's 1923 Hindutva cast Muslim kings as India's epic foe. It can be argued that the RSS painted Aurangzeb and Babur as boogeyman after partition. Audrey Trushke says, Aurangzeb is vilified beyond his deeds, a ruler, not a monster. But he and Babur are perfect puppets for hate. This is not about dead emperors, it's about the rampant Islamophobia and assault against India's Muslims. The far right's playbook is as follows: paint Muslims as foreign invaders, tie them to Mughal ghosts, and unleash the mob. In Nagpur, effigies burned. In Ayodhya, a mosque fell. From Aurangzeb Road, now APJ Abdul Kalam Road, to Akbar Road, renamed in 2022, streets shed Mughal shadows. NCERT books shrink Akbar's peace, inflate Aurangzeb's taxes, and frame Mughal era as a scar in the Indian history. Most Indian Muslims don't worship Aurangzeb or mourn Babur. They are not Mughals. They are citizens, taxed and toiling like everyone else. Blaming them for feudal kings is as absurd as Italians owning up to Caesar's wars. Yet it works. It buries unemployment, inflation, and broken promises under a saffron flag. It turns neighbors into enemies over tombs and ruins no one prayed at. So the question really is, who wins when we chase the ghost of long dead feudal kings?